Well, thanks for staying with us. We are going into the second part of our program where we talk to our guest today. I asked you a small question about what your comment is, whether you think that the Nairobi Marathon has now attained the international status with the kind of prize money that is there at the moment. Do you think that it's on course to becoming a world famous international marathon? And I'm seeing your comments. I'll just take one or two of them. Bobo Wino, thank you very much for watching. And you're saying, yes, you think it's already on course for that. You say you're watching from Kisumu with your son, Msalimie Sana, and tell him we are happy that he's becoming a sports fan as well. John Joroge says, yes, this is going to be big. If we increase the prize money, then it's going to make it even better. Make it 6 million. And even some of us will, will now take part. Now, that's what he says. We are back into the studio to talk to our guests. And John Ogola is the Secretary General of the Weightlifting Federation. Yeah. But he was also the technical director of the team that was in Tunisia, Hammamet, for the beach games. And it looked like a party all through. First of all, thanks for coming to talk to us about it. This looked like a party, nothing else. It was just people enjoying themselves but playing sports, you know, at the beach. How serious, how difficult, how competitive were the beach games?
Thank you so much for inviting me this evening to share my experience at Hammamet. Yeah, it looked like a party, but it wasn't a party.
It was a party. What people are doing is, you know, we could see taking things from down, throwing them onto the other side, which is the dance that you usually hear.
The reason why it looked like a party is that the competitions were very competitive.
Okay.
We had to overcome tough opponents, especially the Tunisians. So even if we didn't get the gold and won the silver, we were very, very happy and pleased with it. That's why you saw a lot of people celebrating and very happy, as if they were partying.
In fact, at some point, they were all dancing together. You don't know the Tunisians, you don't know the Kenyans, you don't know.
Yes.
How many teams were there?
Yeah, for the handball team, there were 6 teams.
Okay.
There were 4 teams, actually, 4 teams for ladies. So it was a round robin. So you had to play, yes, you had to play the 4 teams, and then the number 1 and 2 will play for the finals. And then number 3 and 4 would play for the bronze. So our first match, we played Algeria, I think Algeria, and we won. Our second match, we played Uganda.
That's the women's handball?
Yeah, women's handball.
Okay, in which you got a silver medal?
Yes.
Okay.
Then we lost. Our third match, we played Mali, and we won. So we went finals with the Tunisians.
Tunisia.
So Tunisians, you know, the handball is 5, so the 6th player is the fan.
It's the crowd, of course.
The crowd.
Their crowd.
Their crowd. And, of course, their technical officials. We felt they were not being very fair. In terms
they were a little bit biased towards their team.
And maybe you could feel so because maybe we were not aware of some of the technical issues of the game.
But, are they new technical issues?
You can't tell.
Or maybe it's just a matter of exposure.
Because our coaches, yes, our coaches were not so, they didn't understand some of the calls, which we felt they were being biased. Yeah. So when we overcame...
No. Let's get this straight.
Yes.
You're a handball team.
Yes.
You go to the Africa Beach Games.
Yes.
There's nothing about the calls not being understood. It's just about the calls being unfair or not.
Yes.
Because to say that some of them were not understood, you are either trying to say we were incompetent or that they were biased. Let's make it clear.
Yes.
Was it bias officiating? Because this is not new, especially if you're playing in the north of Africa.
Yes. So, I'll explain it this way. First, we are not at that level like the Tunisians.
Okay, they're at a higher level.
Our beach sport is still new. Yeah, you remember we just had our first beach games in April.
Yes.
So we may not be conversant with all the rules. They have been in the sport for long. And we don't have technical officials officiating at that level. That's a challenge that we are facing as a country. And we need to develop our technical officials so that they can come back and be able to impart that knowledge on our athletes, to our athletes and to our coaches. And of course, there are some which looked biased, but since you do not understand everything, yeah.
But there must be a rule book somewhere that says this is the rule.
Actually, I was just thinking
there has to be a rule book.
This is the second.
Yeah, but you see, they can't. You see, as a technical officials, you know how to go around your officiating. If you want to be biased, you'll still be biased, and people will think you are. You know,
okay, let's talk about the nice stories first. So that one you won and you got a silver. You also had a men's handball team.
Yes.
Didn't do as well as the women's handball team.
Yeah.
Okay. You also had a football team for the women.
Yes.
They didn't do very well as well.
They
many
got a
teams were there
bye.
for the
There
women?
were two.
Two, okay.
And Cape Verde didn't turn up, and we got a walkover.
So that's how you were invited to the World Beach
Yes,
Games.
yes, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And which other sport then? Wrestling.
Yeah, the basketball.
Let's
Wrestling.
go to the
tennis.
wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling. Yeah, we won a bronze and a silver.
Yes.
Yeah, wrestling has been very active on the conventional part of it.
Okay.
I think we had our first tournament in Kilifi in March. So that's when they started preparing. But they put up a very good show, a very strong show. Yeah. And you're saying we were like we were not
having a party.
We were partying. We were not partying. We were happy with the achievement that we made within that.
Tell us about this man called Mark Omumasaba. He got a silver medal in the 90 kgs, and we've seen pictures of him. He's actually the most visible athlete from the beach games at the moment. His face splattered with sand. Battling a South African in the final. And he says this is the same South African he must have played some times back, did he?
Yeah. Yes. They had a tournament before this to qualify for the African Beach Games.
Okay.
So he must have faced some of the opponents during that tournament. I think they are coming up with a circuit of wrestling. So they were invited.
Oh, the African teams?
Yes.
Okay.
So there are two versions of it. There is now the African Championship that you had to go through for you to qualify for the African Beach Games. So he met some of the...
So he knew them.
Yes. But it was tough. It was not easy.
It was very competitive.
Yes, it was very competitive, and of course, fighting on the sand is not the same.
It's a tradition. You know, wrestling in the sand is not a conventional sport. It's a traditional sport. If you have to find them, you must find them in Kisumu. You must find them in Mombasa. You must find them anywhere there is a beach.
But of course, Ben, you have to understand that if it is not something that the country has embraced, so people are not practicing. We don't have any league yet. Yeah, of course, we are looking forward to setting up leagues so that we can be better in the beach sport.
So are we saying that other than when these guys were in Kilifi, they have not played these beach games again?
No, we've not had,
anything
beach competition.
Wow.
So it's a new sport.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah, all the federations are trying to build their beach aspects of the sport.
Yes.
So we just started in April. So between April and June, yeah, that's the time that we've had for serious beach games preparations. So as a country, as a person who was there, I feel that we did a very good job.
Given the circumstances.
I think it's an achievement, and we must
Yes.
congratulate you as well. In fact, when you think about the number of teams that were there, if it's 2 and some 4, it means that not many African countries are encompassing this. But is it a rule, I would like to know, that now all the sports must have a beach, side of them?
Not a rule, really.
Not a rule.
It depends on the international federation. They have to build that beach aspect of their sport. It's more like the rugby and the sevens. So it's the international federation to decide whether to have a beach competition or just to keep with the conventional
and then tell me,
of the sport.
so like if you take Africa, these were the Africa Beach Games. Now, not all African countries have got a beach, are blessed with a beach. So what happens?
It's not just a matter of having a beach or a coastline.
No, but what do you mean a beach? I think you're making...
even a lake.
No. You're confusing a beach and a coastline. Because even Lake Victoria it cannot be on the coast, but it has a beach. Even the rivers have beaches. So you're talking about just a beach, not necessarily
about landlocked countries that actually don't.
No, but they will have rivers, and those rivers will have beaches. Ken, you've got to be careful about this. They'll have rivers, and those rivers will have beaches. Correct?
Yeah.
River Congo.
Tana River is a
River
beach.
Congo.
River Congo is a beach, and even the internal rivers will have beaches. So
So you can play by the lake.
The question is whether or not the federations are able to harness all this talent to make what might be considered beach sports. Like this is I don't know whether it's sailing or this is boating or kayaking or canoeing.
This is kayaking.
That's kayaking.
Where you have to run.
No, this is canoe.
It's canoeing.
Yes, canoeing.
But you see, because it involves a little bit of running as well, it might be an aquathon. It might be 3 or 4 events that include water as well.
The running is at the beginning, about 10 meters.
Or to run to where
to the boat in the water, and then when you finish again, you have to run from the boat to the finish line.
Yeah, it could also involve some swimming. You never know. I mean,
no, this doesn't involve
this one didn't.
Swimming.
So this was just 2 events.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, that's very interesting.
Actually, it's considered one event. It's just that's how the rule is. That you have to run 10 meters, get into your boat, and then kayak or row. Then when you get back to the shore, jump out and then run to the finish line.
So are there any?
You're timed.
Are there any special facilities that you saw? Anything special that Tunisia has in terms of facilities that maybe Kenya and our beach we don't have?
Yeah. And these rowing and canoeing, the boats that were there, our athletes said they've never seen them, they've never used them, but they still went in, competed, and did their best. Yeah, so somehow that was a challenge. But
I'm just imagining, because just recently there was a festival in Luo Nyanza where there was boating. I mean, really competitive boating. And I'm just imagining these ones were brought. You know, it's like you driving a very old track or a very, customized track in the village, and then suddenly someone gives you a running car.
Yes.
Would they do well if they had that?
Yeah, you see, always it's good to practice with what you're going to use so that you're comfortable and you're able to concentrate on just giving your best, not on balancing or trying to fit or get used to the equipment that you're using. So it's important that you use whatever, even shoes, people playing football or even basketball. So
now, here is the question then, so that we can move on to the constructive side of things now. The World Championships were cancelled in Bali. They claimed they didn't have enough money to be able to host it, so which means it's big enough. But do we have a beach soccer league? That's a question I'm being asked by one of our viewers on Twitter. He's asking, do we have a league of beach games like soccer? Can the panelists tell us? We have beaches in Kisumu too. That's what he's saying.
Currently, we don't have any. Out of the experience that we got, we need to have one, because we totally played different compared to the rest of the teams. Like Senegal, all their players play professional beach soccer.
Oh. Yes, that's why they won, because they play at the beach,
Yeah, they beat Brazil 5-0 in the World Cup beach. So in Senegal, it's a professional sport.
Right.
In Kenya, we just played for fun. Actually, our players play the normal soccer, and the same players who play the normal soccer are the ones who came to play, the beach. But they realized, and as we too realized...
You should just tell the viewers the truth. In Kenya, it is Ken who goes to Mombasa for 2 nights, who plays at the beach. Really harness this. I don't even know how you got the... I think I know how you got the team, because there was an invitation to that Kilifi Beach Games, and that is how you got the players.
Yes.
Not necessarily that there was a team already there.
No.
That does those kind of things. It just
so
happens.
That's when we started putting up the team together. But fortunately, they've come a long way, and of course they put in a very good show. Some of the coaches were saying that Kenyan team was the best in terms of terms of skill, in terms of how they played. Only that there are certain skills that they didn't have, like how to
the technical
bit
to chip the ball up,
how to
to chip it off the sand.
Yes,
but in terms of control and everything, they had
control. We had it, movement. We had it. But
so we're playing beach soccer the same way we play women's soccer, like or at the stadium, not at the beach. Because the control and everything else was there.
Moving, trying to run with the ball, which doesn't apply there.
So I'm hearing we have talent. We just need to harness the talent, improve on it, and then we'll be champions at some point.
Did they tell you how then to make that better? The
Tanzania, they are a little bit ahead in terms of the beach soccer. We had a conversation with their coach. He usually comes to Kenya. He said he would visit them and at least have some, clinics, regular clinics, and the players themselves and the management. Their task is to start a league now that should be running for them to be able to get good players.
But these are the same players who also play in the national or Super Leagues, the normal football?
Yeah, no, they're young guys.
Yeah,
I don't think
so-
they play in the...
So then,
but maybe in the local league.
the local okay, the
Building
smaller leagues.
capacity would probably be then of priority at the moment, because you need to have a coach who is conversant with the rules of beach soccer or beach handball, then to be able to train the players in that. So what's the way forward with that?
Our way forward is to start up the leagues, have a lot of friendlies, like compete against Uganda, Tanzania, so that we can build on our technical skills and our capacity. And again now, take the approach of beach, just work as to build the technical capacity in terms of beach sports, not the conventional. We want the federations to have separate leagues for the conventional sports and for the beach sports. That's the only way to get and nurture the talent. From get young people who can grow through the sport, and of course with that experience they'll be able to deliver because we have the skills.
Now, I probably understand why then it was more of a celebration at the beach, because for federations that are complaining of not having money, even for the conventional league, to get money for this other league would be a Herculean task. So maybe the easiest thing would be to just source for players who have already been playing at the beach and all that, and probably just give them 1 or 2 tidbits before you can change them into international big players.
I know from the experience we've had in Tunisia, there's a lot of people are looking towards participating in beach sports, and I know leagues will come up.
How many disciplines do you think we could possibly participate in beach sports? How many? Because now we are counting football, handball.
We had 8.
You had 8 disciplines.
Yes.
Okay, and at the World Championships?
Swimming didn't travel, so we could have had 9. Yes, there was tech ball, which was more of a demonstration. We have a federation here which still has issues. So I think with time we could even do 10 or 11, 10 or 12.
Do you see Kenya being world champions in any of the
why
big
not?
sports?
We have the skills. We naturally have the skills just to build on the technical issues, which as National Olympic Committee we are putting a lot of effort to build the capacity of our coaches and administrators so that we can be at that level.
Excellent. Let's take a look at what we've got over the weekend and see whether or not this can constitute beach sports as well. Let's look at what will be going on around the country in what is called the fixtures. Ken is usually the expert in this one. So what we got, Ken? What's going on?
Well, Wimbledon is ongoing.
Wimbledon. Well, let's start
It's
home.
going,
Always
but,
start at home. Let's start at home. What's going on at home?
So at home we have the Driftwood Sevens.
Oh, that's
At
the
coast,
rugby.
That's the rugby. That's
Is there beach rugby? And that's specifically why I said we look at now what is going on. There's Driftwood Sevens, which is going to be in Mombasa. This is the second leg of the National Sevens, SportPesa National Sevens Rugby League. Do you think then the Sevens would be part of the beach games as well? They were just recently included into the Olympic Games.
At the moment, they are not part of it.
They're not,
but if World Rugby
decides to.
If they come up with that, that version of rugby, it will be accepted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll be watching out to see what KCB does, and Cabras as well in the second leg, Driftwood Sevens. That will be in Mombasa. Then the other thing that is happening around the country as well is we've got the National Athletics Trials as well. This is at the Nyayo Stadium. This is starting on the 7th and 8th. At the Nyayo Stadium. Now, this is where we're going to be selecting the team that goes to the World Championships in Budapest, in Hungary. Now, I don't know whether at one point or the other we will have probably 100 meters at the beach.
That would be interesting.
It will be very interesting to see the takeoff.
Barefoot. Barefoot.
Yeah, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. Even everything is possible.
Can do that one?
Everything is possible. It's
If you have a beach that is 1,500 meters long.
Oh, of course. Look,
There's no circuit.
You know, Somalia's got the longest coastline in Africa.
Yeah.
So we can do it.
We could run into Somalia.
Actually, on the marathon, we were not sure whether it would be run along the beach or on the hard surface.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a
But you know what you need to do is
Did it happen?
Yeah, it did.
Oh, where was it run?
On the surface of the tarmac.
Oh.
But all you need to do is have loops, just like we have it in cross country. You just have a loop round to make up the 1,500 meters. Even the marathon is 42.1, but it goes all around and all that. So it's not difficult to put it. As long as you've got a big enough beach that can accommodate all these things, you have a day. Just like in the other events at the Olympics, at the World Championships, you've got a day, an early kickoff for the marathons. And you do them and finish them.
If they can do handball, why not rugby?
Absolutely, I do agree with that. All right. So then we've got the AFCON Under-23. We've talked about soccer, and soccer is there as well. The finals will be on Saturday, and the third place playoff is Friday. So Mali is playing Guinea. That's on Friday. Who do you think? Who are you rooting for in this one, Ken?
This is the
third place. Yeah, who are you rooting for?
I think Guinea will take
Guinea, why?
Because I think Mali will be exhausted after going into extra time with against Morocco.
Now they always train for extra time as well. What do you think? Who do you think will? John, who do you think will take this one?
I've not been. I've not been following it.
I know, but we're talking about.
I would vouch for Mali. We had a nice time with Mali. We beat them in the basketball.
Oh, so you are voting for Mali?
Vote for Mali.
You know, King, what you must understand is this is under-23. These youngsters don't get as tired as you think they are. No, they don't. They are so energetic. This ones. They will go through that and still play another match and play it very effectively. Well, Mali. Yeah. Okay, I'll put my.
Yeah, they supported
Mali as well.
Mali.
Yes. Just because they're good friends, that's all. All right. And then the finals will now be on Saturday. And the finals is Egypt versus Morocco. Now, this is a very difficult choice. Who are you rooting for in that one?
This one, I will go with Morocco as the home team.
Why?
And looking at even the way they made their progress to make the final, they seem to be the more efficient team. They seem to have the team that's able to turn around the matches and to really penya into those spaces.
What do you think?
Morocco have a lot of talent, lot of talent.
May the best team win.
That's okay, fine. We'll give it to you on that one. As a technical director, you look at it that way. I will put my money on Morocco as well. This is the reason why. The determination, the drive, the whole world is looking at them. And then there is something else they like to push themselves with, the Arab thing. And they will push themselves with that, whether you want it or not. It may sound bad, especially if they're playing and they're the only African team that is advancing, and then they say now they're representing the other side and not the African side. But that still drives them. So their showing at the World Cup will obviously spur them to try and get the better of Egypt. And Egypt have been perennial winners. This time round, they're being beaten by their neighbors, right?
Yeah,
John, you're agreeing with that?
I think the climate in Egypt now is not so conducive.
Yes.
So I don't think they'll be able to put up a good
mentally.
Fight. Yeah, mentally.
Absolutely agree with you. I think that's what we had then in terms of then there's Wimbledon and the Formula One. Are you a Formula One fan?
Not quite.
Not quite. Okay. So what about tennis?
Tennis, yes.
Okay, so Wimbledon is going on. And what do you have to say about Formula One?
I was saying that this is the circuit where Lewis Hamilton has finished a podium the last 10 years. Yes, and so let's see what happens. This is at home. He knows this Silverstone pretty well.
Are different.
But now things
more
are
about
changed.
the car.
The car now, I mean, this
and
Mercedes,
been complaining about the car.
Can't,
In fact, Lewis Hamilton himself was complaining that this car is slow. Now that not a very good sign coming from a driver.
It was said that this was a season when Mercedes would finally get the right dynamics for the car. Maybe it's next.
We'll see what happens then in the British Formula One. And we've got to end it there as well. John, thank you very much for coming and good luck. And when you're setting up these new federations, let us know as well so that we can give it the support that it requires. I think now more than ever before, you must take our thanks to the National Olympic Committee. The Secretary General is very busy helping federations and all that. The President himself is also very busy. Would have liked to have him here. But we're very happy about what the National Olympic Committee is doing at the moment in sports. So many different disciplines of sports want to be accommodated, and the National Olympic Committee is trying their best. Congratulations and good luck in future.
Thank you.
Right then, we'll leave it there for now. It goes very quickly, this 1 hour, when you're talking about sports, and hope you join us again next week for another edition of the Scoreboard. I could have taken your comments on Twitter, but there are many. So I'll just summarize that you have said, yes, it is actually getting to the international standards now. And the money aspect is what is taking most of the comments, saying if it is apt, then it's going to get better to attract even bigger athletes. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next week, and goodbye for now.